Hey, John, how are you this morning?
Hey, good. Excited to talk tech. How are you?
I'm doing great. Just got a new countdown thing in there. We'll probably experiment with that at the beginning, so that gives us a way to start. But welcome back to Futuretech, your weekly source for the latest in tech, innovation, and business. I'm the startup coach, and with me, as always, I'm joined by my co-host John Irwin.
Hey guys. Hey guys. Great to be here. Excited to talk future tech. Excited to talk tech and geek out with you today, Craig.
Yeah, you've got you busy, lots of stuff going on, but we've got a funding series starting soon. I think next week, not next week, the week after. So look for that, and we're talking about specific things. Join us live. You can ask different Q&A, and we'll talk about more stuff at the end. But I really wanted to let's just get into it. There's a lot of cool stuff. Some of this from CES, some from somewhere else. But the first story I wanted to get into was this wearable exoskeleton
Yeah.
muscle
Whenever I
suit.
whenever I hear exoskeleton, I always think back to the Aliens movie with the big construction machine that they're using to fight the alien. But this is different. This isn't that with the big huge claws. This is it's a muscle suit. The muscle suit is a soft wearable exoskeleton. It was developed by Innofis. I'm guessing PHYS is short for physical or physics, to assist with lifting and carrying heavy objects. What it does is it uses compressed air delivered through a waist-mounted pump to pneumatic muscles, quote unquote muscles, along the suit, reducing the effective weight lifted by up to 25 kilograms. So the pneumatic artificial muscle technology, it's not new, but this application aims to make the exoskeleton assisted lifting more accessible for both commercial and consumer use. So the pneumatic design, what it does is it employs soft, flexible materials that conform naturally to the body's movements without joint lock. So I don't know if you've seen previous exoskeletons. They're really stiff. They're really rigid. The motion. You'll see the video here that Craig's playing right now. This is the actual one that we're talking about now, but there's previous ones that aren't. But this is apparently it's really lightweight. I think 8.5 pounds. So it comes in two sizes and it flexes with the wearer's movements. So really interesting. I don't know what the cost of it is. I don't know if you know what the cost of it is, Craig. Have you seen the cost?
I thought I had it in one of these things here. I'll double check while we're talking.
But that
3.8 kilograms, not including cover weight wise. I got the PDF here of the thing up.
3.8 kilograms. Yeah. Yeah. So it's it's really cool. This is a good step forward for exoskeletons because previously they were very rigid, like I said. So this is going to be interesting to see how it if they can bring the cost down of production. I'm guessing it's going to be pretty high. Then we can get this used in consumers. Even older people can wear these, different things like that. Not just for lifting, but there's tons of possibilities out there.
It's interesting technology. If you're doing this kind of work where you're bending all the time, it's probably helpful. I saw a video of someone working with it at CES, and it wasn't as exciting as I would have liked it to be. The reporter, he could feel it, but he wasn't like, oh wow, it's just like, oh, I can see how like it takes a strain off your back. And so I guess without trying it, it's hard to say for sure what it feels like just lifting up a couple of things versus spending 6 or 7 hours a day lifting things.
Yeah. You know who I can see getting this and implementing this is Amazon for all their workers to get their workers to work longer. Sorry.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's exactly what I'm thinking. I don't see a US distributor here. So
No.
I was trying to find, a price somewhere. Just to see if we can.
Yeah. But yeah, so what they're saying is there's applications beyond lifting, which we're talking assembly line work, sorting, packing, which boom, boom, ding, ding, Amazon, or extended reaching is required, or fatigue or strain on muscle joints. So really, really interesting to see. I'm really interested to know how I have some insights into it, but how it actually all is integrated together, kind of thing.
Yeah, I'm as you can see, there's apparently a few other ones out here, and I'm just taking a look as we go through this French website to check
Hmm.
out costs. Anyway, yeah, I'm excited about this technology because we're getting there. Uh,
Hmm.
we are moving in the right direction from wear and tear of somebody who works in a factory on their body doing this stuff over years is immense.
Yeah,
And the closer we get to being able to lower that impact so that people can work these jobs without having long-term injuries, the better.
yeah. Or we just replace them with robots.
Well, yeah, that's an eventuality,
Yeah,
but we're still gonna have to lift stuff. Like
we
for
are.
the most part, like how often I still have to lift stuff. Do I have a robot lift my cooler into my car? Do I have a robot lift my
Yeah.
groceries out and moving around? But in a factory setting, yeah, you can do most of it with a potential robot, but that assumes everything is precise and precision. And
Yeah.
most of the factories that I've been to are not, which
No.
means, the stuff comes in, someone just unloads it. They don't unload it specifically in a specific place where the other robots know where it is to fetch it,
Hmm.
specifically organized a certain way. So a lot of things have to change for something like that to happen. But,
For sure.
like I said, this looks interesting. But the people I saw trying it weren't blown away by it.
And I think the reason why they weren't blown away by it is because this doesn't have torque assistance, active torque assistance at the joints. So once you get active torque assistance at the joints, I think that would greatly increase the capabilities and greatly increase the differential between wearing it and not wearing it, kind of thing.
Yeah, the comment was you're still got all the full weight on your shoulders and your arms,
Yeah,
but it's really protecting your back and pushing the strain around. But yeah, if we were actuated, assisted with
mhm.
this is someone else's product, so we're jumping into that would actually, hey, there you go, powered assistance.
Yeah.
That this particular one seems to have it. I'll take a look at it later, but um, not jumping into that right now. The It's an interesting technology. There seems to be other competitors out there. I wasn't, like I said, completely blown away by it, but I like where we're going. And as
Yeah.
soon as, yeah, we get better where it helps.
Yeah.
So, a 25-pound thing feels like a 5-pound thing, then we've got something different.
Hmm. Yeah.
And, they say there's medical applications for this, I guess, depending on if you've got very specific issues.
Honestly, there's
But
applications in every industry. We're talking military to enhance their strength, endurance, emergency response. It would give paramedics and firefighters added lifting power, especially if you have extremely heavy patients or debris, moving that to more safely. Um, Construction and mining for jackhammering, operation of cranes, and different things like that. Obviously, the elderly assistance and physical rehabilitation are really important. Even potentially space exploration. So, enabling astronauts to perform heavy duty work like construction, where as of right now, they would have to build a robot to do it. So, um,
morning, Ryan. Thanks for joining us, buddy. Appreciate it. Yeah, this is very cool. But let's face it, we all want the exciting robot that we can kind of jump into, maybe an Iron Man type suit. But I'm
yeah,
thinking there's a few steps. Like what was the Aliens? Didn't Ridley jump
Ridley Scott
into?
or Ridley, yeah,
She jump into one of those loading robots and fight
yeah,
the aliens with it.
yeah. I honestly think we're past that already. I think we're at the point where we can have the smaller ones, exoskeletons, not as big as the ones that Ridley was using in Aliens, but um, as far as commercially available and readily available, I think we're far off from a production standpoint. But
Yeah.
and
How do you go ahead?
Go ahead. No, and power wise too. Like you're talking Iron Man suit, and that's powered by his own technology, right? So
Absolutely. So the question becomes, powered and controlled is where we kind of want to be to really this being unpowered just seems like it reduces strain in certain areas versus being powered where it would actually do those assisting things that you're talking about, helping people move around, taking significant weight off certain areas of the body or whatnot that they can't, handle it.
Yeah.
So helping mobility, helping all sorts of issues where people can't, where they have pain or they just physically can't move around or lift.
Yeah. And the problem is right now you've only got essentially two options. You got pneumatics or hydraulics. And so hydraulics are going to take a lot more, are going to be a lot heavier as opposed to pneumatics. And then you got electric motors that are going to have to be involved, which makes it heavier, makes it less flexible, different things like that. So you've got, and then how are you going to power all that? You're going to have a battery pack or compressed gas or different things like that. Like I can see if you're on a shop floor and you've got these exoskeletons and they're just tied to it. Like if you're standing in place and you're just moving maybe a few feet here and there, you could have a power cord. So you're reducing the weight heavily and putting the power, plugging it right in. But if you're having to walk and move around, well, that's something completely different. How do you power that? And well, actually, we can get into this in the next one. Is I think China released a nuclear battery that lasts for many, many years. They just released it, or they said that they have it. So it's something we can talk about in our future episode. That could power this.
Is that the one that's like radioactive?
Yeah.
All right, let's talk. Yeah, put it in the list. I'd love to talk about it because I saw some stuff on that.
Apparently, it's radioactive, but it's safe. I don't know.
Definitely. It seemed pretty small, like the size of a matchbook or something.
They showed it. It looked like the size of a microchip at one point when they were showing one of the pictures. So I have no clue. Who knows? It's probably AI generated stuff anyway. So
yeah, we'll go take a look at it later. Yeah. Almost all my album art and our backgrounds are AI generated now, and some of them you'll see a little Firefly logo or whatnot. Just for people, just generate this stuff. I'm trying to get John to generate it for me, but
Sorry. Yeah. I've been having some issues with Poe.com as far as getting like actual files.
Don't worry about it.
But we'll figure it out.
But yeah, I could easily put your battery in the shoes.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like you don't want to carry it around, but now you put it in the boots or put it in whatever, it becomes part of the suit. The cable runs up. Definitely interesting technology. We're only at the early stages.
Yeah.
But I could definitely see things where we're targeting, say, an arm where, one arm is, I was watching an interview with, I think it was Dean Cain actually yesterday, Superman, and he'd blown his bicep, something he had to get surgery in there. But if he had something like this for his arm, he could still get around doing normal stuff without having to favor the one arm all the time and that kind of thing before a surgery. So definitely from a rehabilitation point of view, this is really interesting, and I think I'm ready for the future. Do you think at some point they'll be able to, like, it was Ripley, I think. Well, who was it in Aliens? It's Ripley. I said Ridley earlier. Sorry for everyone. Don't yell at me for saying Ridley. It's Ripley.
No, Ripley. Yeah. Oh, I thought you said Ripley. Sorry.
Yeah, it's all right. When do our exoskeletons going to interpret our natural gestures and start assisting us? Like, she jumped in that thing and it was doing exactly her motions and whatnot.
Well, that comes down to a bunch of different things. Motion sensors on limbs that can track joint angles, torso orientation, linear, angular velocities to detect intended movements. And then you got force sensors and contact points to measure muscular exertion levels and tension directions to infer tasks like lifting, pushing, or pulling. You've got the EMG sensors, electromammography sensors on the skin or implanted, could read electrical signals from the muscles. And then you've got your machine learning, AI. So any repeated motion or EMG data would allow the algorithms to recognize patterns and predict intended tasks based on posture, muscle dynamic, different things like that. Then you have your intent interfaces, torque modeling. By understanding the biomechanics and motion dynamics, control systems can apply optimal counter torques in sync with kind of your biological movements. Their sensor fusion, so integrating multivariate data could provide robust and redundant understanding of intent. So we need a lot more data, and so these exoskeletons are going to help to gather more data in order for us to build these exoskeletons to interpret user intent and assist better with natural gestures. Absolutely.
Well, I think for regular person, intent will become fairly easy. I say regular person, but say versus a quadriplegic who won't have to necessarily be able to move their arm or leg in a certain direction. To intent will have to do something like breathe or do something with the tongue or I've seen various interfaces, and I'm looking forward to seeing interfaces like that built into exoskeletons or other things. So now we can really bring up a quality of life for people who otherwise wouldn't have.
Absolutely. But as far as paraplegics and quadriplegics, couldn't we just install the Neuralink device? Sorry.
Yeah, well, you go back and listen to that, and you'll hear I don't think that's the. Don't like the results, but they're working on it, and there is a solution in the future. It's a question of what and when,
and ethically how they got there. But yeah, there's a lot more that needs to be done. But hey, I think they're progressing at a decent pace, if that makes sense, based on what I've seen.
Yeah, it was really interesting. This is cool to see where it's going. It's cool to see that there's a bunch of products in the space. It's interesting to see that they're competing with each other, and we're starting to see some of this at the mainstream level.
Yeah.
So switching gears to our next one, this wearable gaming glove for physical therapy.
Yeah, so it's a wearable device developed by Anthropic to help with physical therapy and rehabilitation at home through gamification. Gamification is everywhere nowadays. It's even in Duolingo. Gamification, for those that don't know, is just like you've got a scoreboard or a leaderboard, and you're getting all these points, and it's essentially meaningless points. Like you can't use them to buy anything, but it's kind of to help to incentivize you to keep going, which is it honestly works great. I'm not going to say anything bad about it. So the way this device works is it uses computer vision and AI to track the hand and finger motion without any sensors or gloves, and it's based on video input from a smartphone camera. So by tracking the range of motion, speed, accuracy, and other metrics, it can turn individual exercises into competitive games to motivate progress and help patients stick to their therapy regimes. By tracking the subtle motion improvements over time, it can dynamically adjust the game as skills progress and continuously challenge patients. So it can I would say it's great to augment with like regular physical therapy. I don't think this is at the point where it's going to replace it, but it's really good. So you need so I guess some of the games that were presented were turning finger tapping or pinching motions into literal games like catching fish or crushing obstacles. And your performance impacts the game, which is kind of cool. So what they're planning to do is it aims to make physical therapy engagement more accessible and enjoyable outside of the PT sessions and all that sort of stuff. So hopefully allowing it to incorporate it into their daily life and hopefully speed up recovery, if that makes sense. So really interesting to see. The cool thing I like about this is the software. It's going to be available as an SDK for clinics and therapists for them to be able to design their own customized gamified routines tailored for individual patients and recovery goals. So really interesting to see that they're going to allow that kind of stuff, which is great because everyone's different. So
yeah, I really like the concept. I've worked with a few startups who were doing physical therapy devices, and we talk about what was the Power Glove. Every once in a while it comes up, where did that go? But the concept of putting this interface into either games or everyday computing. Like if you can just use it to surf the web, or even do work, then your physical therapy becomes part of your daily journey rather than something else you have to do on top of it. And that will really much increase the odds of you doing your physical therapy. Plus, something like this could easily report back to your physiotherapist to know how you're doing, if you are doing it and not doing it, that kind of stuff.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. Like I see my grandfather, he has to do his exercises every day. I don't know if he'd be interested in gamifying, but like anyone who'd have to do exercises every day, if you've got a game that you have to play and you're on a certain level, and the more you play it, the higher the levels you get. I certainly would be. It would make me do my daily exercises if I had to do them more often. And as you're showing the video, it definitely looks like a stripped down version of a Power Glove, the Nintendo Power Glove, which is kind of cool with lights and stuff like that. So, and the type of motion that you're doing with it looks like it's Power Glove technology, to be honest, because I used to have one, and the way you move your hand, and it's just like how the Power Glove would interact with the Nintendo. So
yeah, very interesting. And this is the video off their website showing people using different parts of their hands and trying to get back. It's really interesting device. It looks like a Power Glove. It detects movement. I think this is interesting in so many ways. From example, a new interface as well as therapy.
Absolutely, yeah.
Because we go ahead.
No, go ahead.
We talk about we talk about different interfaces all the time, and I'm always looking for something different, because I don't like my specific mouse, and I'll get over that when I eventually get off my butt and buy a new one. But we've been stuck with this for how many years, and now we've got a touch interface, which is interesting. But when are we going to get the Minority Report interface?
Yeah, well, we kind of had that with the Xbox Kinect. It wasn't the best, but with the Kinect camera and the technology and the data that came out of that is being used a lot in a lot of different things nowadays. I still think there's a use case for the Xbox Kinect. That was my favorite. Those are some of my favorite games. They got you in, like they would track all of your movements. You could do things. You could pinch. You could push forward and different things like that. So I don't think we're too far off. Of the Minority Report type interface. I know actually he was wearing a glove, wasn't he, to interface with it at the time too?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, so you merge those two technologies, the Kinect and this technology together, you've pretty much got your Minority Report. So
yeah, you need the other thing you'll need is the glasses.
Yeah, for the AR, the augmented reality.
Absolutely.
Yeah, well, we already have those, right? And all we need is an interface now to be able, and a UI that can utilize that. So I would say we're 5 years away from that.
I think it's going to be longer because you look, we already have those, like you say, those glasses, but the best ones I've seen so far are the Apple ones, and they're just starting to come out, and we'll have to see what they're like. Yeah. But they're big and bulky. They've got the fake digital eyes in the front. Like there's a whole, like if you're by yourself all the time, great. But this is a alienation device if you live with people.
Yeah, for sure.
We have to kind of, I'm against continuously removing ourselves from reality. I think we're losing stuff there. But back to this, what kind of treatments are they aiming for? Like I saw stroke somewhere. Is there other type of, is this for carpal tunnel? Is this just getting things back? What can we use? What can we treat with something like this?
Yeah, so I think it's honestly unlimited at this point, but there were, I think they're really looking to target people with kind of upper limb things at this point, obviously, because it's a hand-based thing, but I'm not too sure exactly, other than people with carpal tunnel, people with maybe tennis elbow, people with again, I'm not a doctor, so I wouldn't know what kind of ailments this could this could be used with. But there's anything that you're using physical therapy. If you've been in an accident and you need to get some hand movement back, there's one where it really, I can't remember the name of the disease, but it makes your hand kind of cramp up. And I think that could be used for this too, but it would have to be used in conjunction with other kind of devices as well that would help to stretch out your hand. But there's tons of use cases for this. Absolutely.
Yeah, and they talk about the tactile feedback and how realistic it is because it can simulate various textures, allowing an immersive experience, which is interesting for gaming. Like we were talking about this for physical therapy, and then we switched to gaming just from an interesting point of view. I'm very curious as to, and as you can see, these are some of the applications from a therapy play. They're trying to get you to move your hand in certain rhythmic form of control, which is like what Rockstar. The one on the left looks like Rock Band or whatnot, or
or what was
these
that?
Go ahead.
That old video game that they had with where you had to collect the blocks. Was it called Blocks? I can't remember, but
there was a game called Blocks, but I don't remember specifically like if that was the game. But see, there you go. And you're obviously trying to, you play these games for a few minutes a day, and that's your physical therapy.
Yeah.
This is interesting. I like where we're headed. I like this as an interface. I like it as a therapeutic device. I love the haptic feedback. Did they mention, battery life or anything?
Not that I saw, no. But I'm guessing the battery life could be long, depending on the size of the battery, because it doesn't seem like there's too much power drain, except for maybe the LEDs, which don't drain that much power anyway. But the sensors could, depending on what sensors they're using. But I'm sure they'll get more efficient. But no, I don't know what the battery life is on something like this.
Well, this is interesting. I just noticed this and brought it up here. Like, imagine using something like this to learn how to play the piano, where the thing's going to vibrate you on your finger to tell you which finger to use as you go.
Yeah, I saw that, and it's going to be hard because then it would have to track the position of your hand as well. And I think it can do that, but it'd have to be pretty accurate for those keys, right?
Well, I think you'd have a starting position and whatnot, but yeah, the concept is to work on the patterns, right? And if it from a therapy point of view, that's great, but also from a learning point of view, it might have that haptic feedback. Might be some things that people an additional feedback that allows you to memorize it quicker, the motions and the movement.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, it's going to be an interesting device. For me, I don't know. I don't know what the additional use cases are going to be. Obviously, you could use this for interfacing with a video game for sure, with an Xbox or something. Absolutely. I know Xbox was a big proponent in putting together an accessible controller. I don't know if you've ever seen that. It's really cool. But this could be the next step to that.
It looks a little kludgy right now when we see people using it in some of the videos we have been seeing and had up here. So it's not quite as responsive as we'd like. And you can pre-order these. I think they're about $400.
Yeah,
we had the ad up earlier.
Yeah.
$350. You can secure one. Enjoy 12% off the original savings of $400. Yeah. Pay the remaining. So if you buy now and pay $50 up front, you only have $350 left.
That's not bad. Like that price point would be for the actual physical therapy clinics and things like that. So that's not a bad price point for them.
Yeah. So we'll have to see. We'll have to see if this gets adopted, if this gets proven from a technology point of view. When I say adopted, Does this get supported by governments under Medicare or other plans, so people will get this covered as a physical therapy option on their employment benefits? That's when you start seeing this actually do the uptake. Until then, I'm not sure.
Yeah, they'll have to. I honestly think they'll have to improve the accuracy, like you said, of the sensors and things like that. But it's a great proof of concept. Well, it's more than a proof of concept, but it's a great initial product.
And we've seen the motion capture suits in Hollywood, and everything starts coming along. This kind of technology is going to be it is really cool. And you talked about the Kinect games, some of them were your favorite. The problem is the interface just wasn't good enough. You'd push, but not every time it would catch your push, and this and that, not at the time, and not so it has to be better. That's why people like professional gamers use wired controllers, not wireless controllers, because apparently that fraction of a millisecond makes a difference to them. Not I'm not to me, but so it has to be better. But I love where we're going from a physical therapy point of view, because this is, as soon as you can now, it won't be long, you can put resistance on those things too.
For sure,
haptic feedback to make you move.
Yeah, that's going to be a huge game changer. Is implementing some sort of not feedback, but yeah, for sure.
Yeah, resistance. So that you can either, whether it's built into the glove at a 5 pound, 2 pound, whatever resistance level for you to make the movements or whatever, or if it's electronically controlled, because now you have resistance when you're moving your fingers, so you can take your physical therapy up on it. Like it's like squeezing a tennis ball potentially, or moving your fingers with resistance versus non-resistance.
Yeah, exactly.
Interesting. And if you want to take this stuff to the next level, combination of haptic feedback, electronically controlled resistance, and electronic muscle stimulation, you've got a potential muscle generating device that all the workout or non-workout fans will like, depending on how you look at it.
For sure. Yeah. No, there's tons of potential for this thing. I think it's a great starting point for sure. But we're gonna have to be cautious. There's a bunch of things we're gonna have to be cautious of, is any kind of biases or as far as bias-free accuracy and different things like that. Because if it's tracking, depending on the skin color too, I don't know if it's just tracking the sensors, but it's tracking the skin as well. So we're gonna have to be cautious of that and see. But yeah,
obviously it's got to work, and it's got to work on an old man and a little kid and a pregnant woman and different ethnicities. If we all have slightly different biological ranges or whatnot, I don't know. But yeah, it's got to work. It can't just be work on one person.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
All right. I love this next story that we're going to be talking about, the future of holograms.
Yeah.
And
I actually got to play with this in person, which was cool.
When did you get to play with this?
At Elevate. They had it at Elevate. I got my picture taken with what's the Canadian astronaut? Jesus.
It doesn't matter. Keep going.
Chris Hadfield.
Yes. Oh, yeah. He's at all of those. Hadfield's at all of those.
No, but it wasn't him. It was his hologram.
Oh, fair enough.
Yeah. So, but I think he did speak it. He did at 1 year. But yeah, so they're showcasing their holographic. So the company's HoloConnects. They're showcasing their holographic projection at this is, I think, from CES, and which includes, they have a bunch of different devices: the Holobox, the modular Holobox, and Holobox Mini. And what they can do is they can project full color, life-sized 3D holograms of people, products, logos, or any image essentially into real space using a combination of optics and AI software. And the way it works is it utilizes the optics, or the way it does it is a combination of projection screens, lenses, spatial light modulators, and computational imaging techniques to seamlessly display this CGH, is what it's calling, because it's a computer-generated hologram, not a computer-generated image. So they do actually appear seamlessly integrated into the live scene. It's really, really cool. The way it works is, like, I'm standing there, but there's no one beside me, but everyone on the outside can see him, can see the person standing beside me. So it's really, really interesting to see. So potential applications could span industries: education, advertising, hospitality, for remote product demos, virtual receptionists, live speaker projections, things like that. Which I'm interested to know if, I don't know if you've heard of this ABBA concert that's happening, but they're performing remotely, and it's happening in London. So yeah, you're showing the video of the Holobox. It's really, really interesting. So this would be cool for communication, long distance communication, different things like that. Really interesting device, to see where they're going with it, for sure.
Yeah, you mentioned the ABBA concert. I knew they were doing a hologram concert, and I heard someone else was going to, but I didn't know they were going to use this technology, which is interesting.
Oh, I
I
don't know if
like
they're using this technology, but I think I'm gonna have to look into it. I just heard about it last night. So
because this is interesting as that becomes the next concept for me is okay, great that we can do these holograms, but is this the next video conferencing where
probably, yeah.
where you can actually have someone there answering questions, doing a live Q&A with somebody maybe worldwide and have 10 of these boxes and the same person's live in 10 locations, for example?
Yeah, absolutely. There's so many different applications. The only problem is that it's right now it's limited to where that device is set up. It would be great if they could. I'm sure they'll develop this technology further to have it so that you could walk around, but like in Star Trek or in all these movies that are having it, where people are walking around and the person walks around in the room as well, the hologram.
So a lot of people probably don't know this, but Margaret Atwood, the Canadian author, she co-founded a digital signature company. I think it's called Cosign. Forgive me if I got it wrong. Got to go look back. I did the interview with her co-founder a while back, and they hold most of the patents for electronic signatures that most people use now, like in their software. And I mention this because her initial reason when she went to her co-founder says, I'd really like to be able to sign books without actually having to physically be there. So this was as an author tool to be able to do book signings without, traveling the world,
Yeah.
but actually get the people there have book signings. Now, doing something like this, you could do a book tour, interview people, and literally while you see someone like Margaret Atwood sign it in the electronic machine signs it right beside it. And this becomes a full immersive experience.
For sure. That's a great example. For sure. Yeah, you would integrate some sort of, maybe that glove technology into this that tracks your movements, and signs the books using. I know there's surgical robots that can do that.
They
Remotely.
have all this stuff. So I would suggest that, like, when I say that,
Yeah.
they have the patents for all of, like, every how hard you push, every stroke, every nuance for every like fraction of a millisecond when you're signing stuff. They have a whole digital signing room. So you just throw something like that on top of it, and all of a sudden you've got a really interesting situation where they're live on both sides. You don't need to necessarily use a power glove because you've got the signing equipment. But yeah, with something else, you could use an interface where I'm here, your robot comes up at your command and delivers something, or you have control over a certain amount of physical things on site.
Absolutely. Yeah. There's so many applications. I think there's even more. There's applications we probably haven't even thought of. And I know that back in the day, I think years and years ago, and it cost millions of dollars. I think they did. This is not the same technology, but it's a different. They had, I think, Tupac Shakur, who's dead, perform a concert. So I don't know. I don't think this is the
I
same
remember that.
technology, but yeah.
But imagine, just off the top of my head, I was watching this and saw the person put something on their tree. Imagine if the instruction to put your IKEA furniture came in this format instead of you get an Allen key and a 300-page manual that you're trying to figure out, where it actually shows you where to stick the thing in. It's like, oh, that would be great.
Yeah, that would be. Yeah. It's going to be interesting. Like I do like holographic projection or holographic images are definitely the way to go for any kind of future communication. But again, getting back to, is this going to be another excuse for us to stay at home and not go out anywhere because now we can just project ourselves?
Yeah, I guess I was looking at it the other way of trying to deliver an experience that wouldn't otherwise be able to be delivered. And you're
Sure.
right about not going home or not going out. But if you could actually get rid of the box on this box and make it a room,
Yeah.
as an example, so the projectors and whatnot are everything's in the room rather than the green screen beside it or what have you.
Mm-hmm.
Then you got some interesting technology for people to work with.
Yeah.
We're just at the beginning stages, and this is really nothing more than an interactive kiosk at this stage, unless you actually have a live person at the other end responding
For
to
sure.
what's going on the screen. It's just a pre-recorded, like you could do all this stuff with video. So I'm not super excited about what we're seeing, mostly from an advertising. Press the button on the screen, get a different response, ask it a question, get a different response. Even this 3D car, the BMW here, if that's a BMW, it's not impressive. It looks great, but we can do that with a flat screen these days and almost make it look the same. So it become, I don't know how popular this particular format is going to be long term. I think it's great for events, but we need the next evolution.
Yeah, for sure. And forgive me, but I think it's over in Asia. Don't they have this big, huge billboard that's on a corner of a building that they're able to do similar types of projections, and it's been around for a while? I wonder if this is the company that developed that technology, or if they're. The thing that I like about this is how realistic it looks. The resolution is definitely pretty good on these things. Like, it
Definitely
doesn't
pretty good.
It doesn't look like a hologram. Like, it doesn't look like it looks like a real image, which is a huge leap forward.
Absolutely. And I think I found the thing you're talking about. So we're just going to throw it in the window here.
Yeah, this thing.
That looks crazy.
It does, doesn't it?
Yeah. Gigantic 3D cat on Tokyo billboard. Cheers people up during coronavirus.
But there's been awesome. Like, there was one with waves. It was really cool, and it looked like it was busting out of it. Like, the cat looks like it's busting out of it.
Yeah.
So I'm curious as to if it's similar technology or if it's the same company or whatever. But
yeah, I don't know anything about it. Just was able to pull it up here.
but
When
it's
you
like
Google it,
there's a great example of a large scale hologram, right? And we could
Yep.
probably get to that point. We could probably get to the point that you're talking about, where we're in a room and there's multiple people in the room and they're all there virtually and they're all holograms. So it's going to be interesting. I think there's going to be some great advancements using machine learning, using computing and GPU power to get to scale it up and get it to more of a 360-degree type of hologram without it being confined to a certain space.
Yeah, because I see this technology as being the technology that all the evil overlords use, from Hydra or any other you see, where they virtually get together and their images appear around like a boardroom table, and they plan the destruction of the world and then they disappear. This should be the technology for all those movies moving forward.
Absolutely. Yeah. But the thing is I believe in order to get it to that point, in order to get it to a point where it's not combined, there's going to be some tech breakthroughs that are going to be needed across multiple fields. Like um, different imaging approaches, different lighting, next gen light sources, different things like that, optical corrections and adjustments. There's a lot of advancements that are going to be needed, but it's at a point, and I'll repeat this because I already said it's at a point where it does look realistic. Like when I have that picture that I think I posted on LinkedIn of me with Chris Hadfield, it actually did look like Chris Hadfield. Um, so it's really interesting.
What do you see the gaming applications for something like this?
Yeah, there's tons. So what I think would be cool is to you could be playing on a holographic game board, like a physical tabletop board game. Obviously, you have your augmented reality games where you're overlaying holographic gameplay elements, characters, environments. Um, so not so much gaming, but like you could have interactive museums or exhibit games that could draw more people in, or even esports spectating. So you could have new viewing interfaces for free roaming camera controls and social viewing experiences. Even if we're talking not so much gaming, but games themselves, you could project the images from a live sporting event, which would be really cool to see. That would be really cool to see in that actual device. That was one I just thought of actually. So you could have interactive instruction, collaborative kind of design where apps that are enabling group iterations on virtual objects and different things like that. A lot of cool stuff, spatial puzzles, even kind of multi-perspective play where there's titles that are reworked around changing the viewpoints or occlusion relationships and different things like that. But I think that the best application, just because I love my TV and sporting events and things like that, I would love to have this as a TV in my house with like having the game itself, and the spatial views that you would get from that would be phenomenal.
Yeah, the high resolution stuff, sports, 4K, 8K is amazing. Throwing something like this on top of that would be great. I could see why actors, news people and everything, they all hate these 4K because you can see every blemish, every.
Mhm.
So as soon as you start taking that to a 3D level, what does that mean for a set point of view? Like, I can't even hide my butt anymore because even if it's a front view, someone can turn me around because it's a hologram or whatever the case may be. The sets would have to be different, I would think. It's great if sports go that direction, but it's not going to go everything's not going to go that direction unless everything goes that direction.
Exactly.
You can't have these huge expensive TVs that are only for football or only for baseball or only, like, you can, but they're
Yeah.
not going to do any business. So it has to come down to people recording, just like we're getting 4K content now. It's slow, but we're getting streaming 4K content. How long till we see something like this? Like, do you see them switching to new higher end 3D recording so you
The
can.
reason No, and I'll tell you why I don't think so is because the reason why we had 4K is because they developed the technology for it to be able to integrate into the current existing framework. And they had a compression algorithm that was able to compress it such that they could broadcast it without using much more bandwidth than 1080p. So unless they're, because obviously broadcasting this kind of data is going to be huge, unless they can develop again similar kind of things, because again the broadcasting industry is dying, as far as live TV, or as far as actual cable companies, not cable companies, but like NBC, ABC, those things like that.
Yep.
So it's gonna, I don't know, maybe it's gonna take a company like Amazon, they've really innovated the Thursday night football broadcast for football, which was really cool if you ever saw one of those. But again, it's gonna be
Does it
as,
work now?
yeah.
When they
Why?
first started, yeah, good luck getting a good stream. It would be cutting out all the time, be low res, but that's what happens when
Yeah,
everybody
for
starts
sure.
these things.
Yeah,
You
but
know, um, you know who's got the best streaming service in the business?
who's that?
MLB.
Really?
Yeah, they mastered it, the baseball,
Mhm.
and they've got. I think they're the people. Well, whoever the company is that does that now is an MLB owned company. They do the streaming for the Academy Awards and everyone because they nailed it down early.
Oh, okay, yeah. You know the ones I like is the F1 because you can have the multi views of each car.
Oh yeah,
And,
that's phenomenal.
yeah, yeah,
What they
they do.
do, yeah, you got like 4 in-car cameras for one guy, and you have
Mhm.
12 or 20 or 30 people on the field. Maybe you don't have in-car cameras for everybody, maybe only top 5 or 10, but
No,
still,
they've got
that's a
in-car
lot of
cameras for every racer now, and
wow.
then yeah. So I saw this guy that has um his own setup that has like the live track view of all the cars and where they are and all the standings, and it's phenomenal. And I think integrating this holographic technology into that is going to definitely increase viewership and increase interactivity and different things like that. Absolutely.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. If you can actually, from a hologram 3D point of view, look in the cockpit, you like really feel the sweat. You'd
Yeah.
feel him shaking. You'd feel the. It
Yeah.
would be an interesting. I say him, but there's only a couple of female race car drivers, so I
Yeah.
apologize if anyone's offended there. And I don't know anything about the racing circuit, but yeah, the concepts are really cool. How long till we have something like this on our desks that we can use?
Oh, on a desk, a small one, I'd say
Yeah,
10 years. You know
'cause-
what? That's the typical answer. Actually, no, some of them have been 40 years. But yeah, 10 years, I would say, until we have something like this. Maybe even 5, because we do have the technology. It's already at scale, it's larger scale. All you have to do is miniaturize it.
yeah. This has been really cool. I'll be interesting to see when we start getting to the level of, YouTubers or unboxers or whatever, having these things where they can put the product in something and
Yeah.
show to the world something small, like what we have light boxes now. We can have a 3D light box net with something like this.
Yeah.
Really looking forward to that. So, what do you got going on, John?
Yeah. Just we've got I'm excited to do some more podcasts with you specifically on government funding. So those are going to be coming up. Watch out for those. That I'm excited for that. Right now, just it's a new year, helping companies secure that CDAP funding or any kind of shred funding or different things like that. That's a primary focus for right now. Yeah.
Yeah, we've got a lot of stuff going on. Startup Drinks TO next week, January 25th, is our Startup Investor Drinks in Toronto. We do these monthly. Come on down. Just
Mhm.
grab your tickets at Startup Drinks TO. It's open bar, open pitch. Just sign up to pitch when you get there. It's a great
Phenomenal.
time. Yeah,
Yeah.
if you're looking for funding experts, investors, ecosystem experts, founders, come on out. It's a great time. If you want to work with me, go to startupcoach.ca. There's a bunch of options there. Click for a discovery call, and we can have a quick chat about where you are in your business and how I might help you grow or get unstuck. Upcoming in February 14th, actually, Valentine's Day, we have a co-founder matchup event. We have Siavash Shakarian coming in, going to be talking about like the co-founder prenup at the beginning, and we're going to have a few games and a few experiences to get
Mhm.
co-founders hopefully matched up with like-minded people to take their projects forward. Go to mentoringmagic.ca for that. Find out the rest at torontostarts.com, where you can find out all these podcasts. I
Absolutely.
think that's about it. I'm sure there's more. There's always more stuff.
Oh, the one thing I wanted to talk about, Startup Drinks is a great event. If you can't make it this month and which is January, and you can make it in February, please do. It's everyone's super friendly. It's very welcoming. I know it can be intimidating going to these, but this is very not intimidating at all. Everyone's super friendly, laid back, and there's people from all gambits of the startup world, from big companies, like you've got some big four people coming that go, you've got investors, you've got people who just have an idea, and if you just have an idea and you want to pitch it out, you get 20 seconds. So highly recommend it to go, and you can get some anyways. Yeah, it'll be fun.
Yeah, there's like a Will Greenblatt's going to be there. He's the best pitch coach in the city. So if you want feedback on your pitch, I think he's giving away one of his books. He's going to judge the pitches and pick a winner. you are going to be there talking about funding, not talking about, but anybody who wants to know anything about funding. We have other mentors there about risk. I'll be there. And if you want to know anything about the ecosystem, get connected, just come on out. It's a great event. And it's like $25, open bar, pizza, and all this stuff. It's the best value in town.
Absolutely.
All right. I think that's it, John. We'll see you next
Shout out
week.
to Ryan Smith for joining us this morning. Thanks, Ryan.
Yeah, thanks for joining us, Ryan. Appreciate it. Hopefully you stuck through all of that. It was an interesting conversation. We'd love your feedback. And anything else anybody wants us to talk about, just let us know, as we're doing more and more of these every day. And these will be released on the Futuretech podcast as individuals. So you'll see one episode for Wearable Exoskeleton, one episode for the Gaming Glove, one episode for Holograms, coming out in a couple of weeks, because we record these a couple of weeks ahead of time. So thanks, everyone. I appreciate you being here on a Friday morning, and good luck with the rest of the week and weekend.
Thank you.